We're going where you want to go so you can be where you need to be. It's Road Gang Radio with Lindsay, Lawler, and Jimmy Mack on RadioNemo.com.
Man, oh man, Lindsay, they've... Oh...
This is Road Gang Radio.
I haven't heard that. Oh, my God. And by the way, when you say Shevitz, it now makes me think of Evitz.
Shevitz. That's kind of what I want to say to people sometimes. Shevitz.
Oh,
I don't know. This is Road Gang Radio. That's Jimmy Mack. I'm Lindsay Lawler, New Orleans and Nashville, Tennessee / Franklin, Tennessee. It's a spooky month, but it's also a funny month. I have to lean onto the funny side and the weird, wild, mystical side, or else I get scared. The scary scares me. Jimmy Mack, scary scares me at risk of sounding on the nose.
Oh, yeah, but here's the thing, the scary scares you, but remember this too. Ultimately, at the end of the day, scaring people has the same exact structure as a joke. And if you remember that, if you always keep that in mind, that you're watching somebody set up a joke, and I know how much. And by the way, I'm not being a jerk. You love to laugh, but what I also mean is that you love the mechanics of comedy. You are a big fan of the mechanics of comedy,
I am.
And you understand how they work. By the way, I will tell you off the air. I can't tell you on the air. My friend Adriana, and I told this to Dre before. I thought she said that I'm eating a cat when I picked up the phone. Her response, which you probably can guess, was so fast and so furious. It wasn't just that the comment was witty. It was that it was so on top of it that it was breathtaking in how rapidly she responded to my misunderstanding of what she said. And we actually then spent the next 15 minutes breaking down why it worked. And I love doing that.
You guys are nerds.
So are you.
I like it. Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah.
I like it. I say that as a total compliment. That's why I can get my head around scary stuff and horror, because I can my transition being as a songwriter. I'm like, okay, how would this play out in a song, in a country song? How would I write this? And that's how I can get my head around it. But anyway, we digress, because the next guest, they know something about storytelling. From a comedic standpoint, faux show and writing. These guys, Jim, which I'm going to let you break it down and introduce these guys, but I mean, their comedic background is so both diverse and on the nose, and I just love these guys' work. I love what they've put together. I love when it's like you take multiple people's expertise and you put it together. This is basically what they've done, Jim, is what we talk about in music, genreless. It's like let's get this guy who's really good on banjo, this guy's really good on guitar, this guy's a songwriter, put them all together, this guy who's a hip-hop producer, I don't know, let's see what happens in a room. That's what these guys have kind of done with this festival. It's like, let's get some bunch of different people's expertise, let's go find random crap we find out on the road and nostalgia, but also make it current, and then go take it to the people. Let's see what happens. They've done that. Jim, tell us about our next guest.
Well, and by the way, guys, if you're going to come up with a neat idea, you've actually got to breathe life and infrastructure into it, and that's exactly what Joe Pickett and Nick Prueher have actually done here. Go to foundfootagefest.com. They really have something for everybody. They've been involved with The Onion, The Late Show with David Letterman, and the Colbert Report. In 2004, they founded the Found Footage Festival, which is a national touring comedy show featuring VHS tapes they've discovered at thrift stores and garage sales across North America.
Truck stops.
And truck stops. And Lindsay, by the way, you want to talk about an idea that either has comic or horrifying potential. There's the combination. I mean, there are movies, there's an entire series of movies, VHS, that actually involves found footage, finding found footage, as it were. They also, by the way, directed an award-winning documentary, Dirty Country, about a raunchy country singer, and I mean raunchy, who they found on cassettes at truck stops in the 1990s. It's a pleasure to welcome them back. Joe Pickett and Nick Prueher join us this morning on Road Gang Radio. Welcome to you both.
Hi, good to be back.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Okay, guys, I have to tell you the first thing I thought about, and I wonder if you guys remember this, going through all your stuff, I remember one of my favorite games we used to play as a family. Do you guys remember Commercial Crazies?
Yes, we have one. Yeah.
You do? Okay, good. Because this is one of my favorite memories. I'd love to try to figure out what I guess the modern version of it would be. But what I did, what that game made me realize is exactly what you guys are doing too. The idea of like the stuff that we consume and don't realize how bad it is. Like especially back at the time, it's like we just like, where's the beef? I mean, now that was based in comedy, but there's also so many things that are sky high airlines, climb aboard. But the stuff that we just intake as factual, and you're like, this is terrible, and you guys are making a career off it. So bless you for it. Is there a tie into Commercial Crazies there? You have it, so I love that.
I wasn't expecting to start this interview off with Commercial Crazies, but I tip my hat to you. That's the first. We've done a lot of interviews. We've never started off with Commercial Crazies.
Yay!
So
that was a whole genre. Yeah. That was a whole genre, though, VCR game. So, before the internet, that was interactive entertainment. Was you'd have a VHS tape you'd play along with a board game, and there's ones about, like, identifying birds. There's one called Nightmare, which is all about a spooky gatekeeper comes up and startles you while you're going around the board. And yeah, Commercial Crazies was like identifying things about wacky commercials. And it was a weird concept because how many times could you really play it? But people bought those.
But you would play it. You play with other people too, and then you feel smart when, each time.
When you memorize the tape.
Yeah, because you look like a genius. Yeah.
Exactly.
But Commercial Crazies was actually pretty brilliant because they're getting you to pay for the advertisement. Normally, you just get advertisements thrown at you. You're paying for the advertisement, and you're paying attention to the commercials. It's a pretty brilliant concept if you think about it.
It's interesting what you said too about that. We've been doing we do a YouTube show called VCR Party each week where we're live from our office showing like the stuff we found that week on VHS. And one project we've been doing for a couple of years now is trying to name the official commercial jingle of each state. So like you were saying, everybody grew up just consuming these jingles that are, I'll still wake up with a car dealership commercial I watched in the 80s in my head to this day. And we've found that is nationwide. People did that. They have the thing that they grew up with. And so we, bring on people from those states and we play like candidates, 10, 12 of the best jingles that people remember, and we try to decide what should the official jingle of each state be.
Oh, how funny! How fun! So, what have you come up? What's California?
What you got?
I think California.
What was California?
It's that car. I think it's Cal Worthington, the car dealer there, who would always have like an animal or something. I think that was the winner there.
Yeah, he'd always end with the dog. He had the cowboy hat on. And, I think Cal won it for that.
So I had a guest on recently, guys, a fellow New Orleanian, and we actually had gone to the same high school just a few years apart. And somehow, rather than talking about veterans issues, we got into the weeds talking about old New Orleans television commercials. And just recently, a man named Al Scramuzza passed away. He was like 97 years old. But there was a lot of grieving around town for this man who hadn't been in the public eye for like almost 30 to 40 years because he created these commercials. He actually had a place called Seafood City. And we ended up, both of us well into our 50s.
Terrible name for a restaurant.
But it wasn't a restaurant. It's actually a place. It's a place where you bought.
It's an actual city.
It's a place where you actually bought like the stuff to go home.
Sorry, what
a
terrible name, period.
Yeah,
there we go.
But here's the thing. It's like so his name was Al Scramuzza, and the jingle was Seafood City, very pretty. Seafood City isn't very pretty. Way down deep in St. Bernard. Stay with Al Scramuzza, and you'll never be a loser. 1826 North Broad. And we actually ended up going through like 5 or 6 different commercials and just singing them aloud together on the air. And I guess what I'm kind of asking here is, do you feel like in 25 years, the next generation of human beings, when they finally become adults, and we are holding that pattern off longer and longer with each passing year, will actually have that kind of collective memory? Or do you think that's the result of what I would call late 60s, mid 70s, all the way throughout the 80s, sort of a shared sort of television imagination?
Yeah, I think it was more of
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's more of a monoculture back then. Now everything's so stratified. You get like, Taylor Swift's new album's coming out. That'll, I'm sure that
tonight at 11 p.m. Tonight at 11 p.m.
Tonight.
By the way.
Yes, sorry. Sorry. But so that's going to be a big cultural zeitgeist thing that people. But there are fewer of those moments because there's just more entertainment. So yeah, I don't know that there's like one or two jingles that everybody will be singing along together. They'll actually have to deal with veterans issues. You know, you can't ignore that just to sing old commercial jingles anymore.
Oh man, my
But
childhood.
they do still make commercial jingles though. We tracked down this one guy. There's this one guy. His name is Otis. He was from Texas. He just passed away recently. But we learned that he is like the master of the jingle. Like we noticed some similarities in these jingles, and we'd be like, I called up a station one time, a TV station, said, who wrote the jingle for that? And they're like, it's this guy named Otis. And then we looked him up, and he just has this just list of songs that everybo's heard before, and he's been doing it up until the day he died. So I don't know. The jingles are still out there, but we don't watch TV as much anymore. So, yeah, I don't know if, the next generation is going to be singing those songs.
It'll be interesting. I'm also curious too. Okay, because there's a big trend, or this has been happening for a long time. It's not new, but when people are converting their VHS tapes, and my family moved here recently. My parents moved here recently, so we were unboxing a bunch of things. I did a group with Jessica Simpson, and we did a chorus line, and so they found that, so we're transferring all the stuff over. I should share it with y'all because it's really bad. It's really bad, But what we realized, we got it onto our computer. The footage on the computer, and I'm watching the computer, and I'm like, it doesn't hit the same. I want it back on the VHS. Like, are you finding that? Like, it's something. It's the quality is the wrong word, but it's because it's on the VHS and playing on the older TV that adds to the whole package of it. Versus if you take it off that, it kind of loses its message. Have you found that?
Yeah, I think the material is best enjoyed on like a CRT TV too. When you upscale it to a modern TV, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
But I think one thing our show does, our live show, if nothing else, is it puts this footage in a context that's even bigger than a TV, and way bigger than a laptop. It's in a movie theater or a rock club with a huge screen. And there's something about taking this footage that was never meant to be seen that way and putting it in this big format where you're really forced to reckon with it in a different way. And it becomes this communal experience, like you were saying, where you're sitting around watching the Jessica Simpson footage as a family, on a TV rather than by yourself on a phone or something. And so, yeah, we're still kind of holding a candle for those days when that was the communal way you would watch something like that.
I also think that, with the VHS, the graininess and the bad tracking, how it tries to adjust itself.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I think a big reason for the resurgence in VHS is because it's similar to that of vinyl. A lot of the young kids these days love vinyl. And, the hisses and the pops and the crackles and just having something physical in your hand like that makes a difference, rather than just a streaming 4K, everything looks beautiful. No, we want rough around the edges. We want something a little grainy.
And by the way, that kind of sets up a whole bunch of things. I want to point out that you guys talked about actually making a follow-up calling in pursuit of jingles, and in the idea of talking about the context of something bigger. So I want people to go to foundfootagefest.com. I want them to check that out very much so. And I said at the beginning that people will have an idea, and it'll be a really clever idea, a really funny idea. Why don't we do this thing? But then it kind of dies right there. It just becomes part of one of the many things that kind of gets thrown into the air. You guys at some point have to make a commitment to this. And when you make a commitment to it, it really kind of means you're not just engaged in the act of kind of finding what is funny on, found footage, that you actually are you're engaged in what gamers would call world building, whether it's a video game or whether it is in fact a board game or anything else like that. Can you talk about the idea of what it means to kind of construct this world? We were talking yesterday with another gentleman who was actually reconstructing his father's early albums and all his old music and putting it together. How do you kind of maintain, I guess, found footage discipline here to make sure that everything kind of works in this world you've created? Am I making sense, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. And the weird thing is talking about like commitment to this thing. Like we started the show in 2004, and I think we did 2 shows. We had enough for 2 shows with our collection at the time. And we're like, well, I think that's it for for dumb VHS tapes. Let's go look for a regular job. And but then people came out of the thank God, people came out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, have you seen this VHS tape? Oh, have you seen this VHS tape? Oh, I worked at a news station. Here's all of our bloopers." You know, and it just, I mean, the content was there. You know, that was the format of choice in the 80s. We call the late 80s the golden age of VHS, because that's when it was just the Wild West. Everybody had a camcorder, commercials. Everybody was shooting on video. It was cheap. So, you know, they just, you know, crapped out VHS at a furious pace. So once we realized that it was a bottomless pit, we're like, okay, I think we can do this forever. And now at this point, we have over 14,000 unique VHS tapes, no doubles in that. And so, like, I think we're set for life. So that was really the turning point, is when we realized, oh, this is a bottomless well of
yeah, and that turning point also helped us build the show more too. Like it was very much like we presented it the same way we would for friends growing up in our small town in Wisconsin. You know, that's how we started doing this, was finding videos at Goodwill's, and Friday night have people over, and we would set up the video. Here's what you need to look out for. Then during the video, make jokes, you know, when appropriate, and fast forward to the funny parts. And that's kind of how our first shows were as well. But once we saw that we were kind of onto something, we built out the world a little more, and we started taking steps we hadn't thought of before. Like we would hire private investigators to help us track down people from these videos, because we wanted to know more. And every little video was like a human interest story that we needed an answer to. So we started following those mysteries where they led us, and interviewing these people, flying to go meet them, and then presenting the results at the show. And so yeah, over the world, we've kind of secured over the years our place as like curators and straight men to this wacky world of VHS tapes.
I love, since you mentioned you had investigators to try to track people down, but then has on the other side of that, has anyone ever recognized themselves in a tape you've played, like whether a show or reached out to you? Or are there any legal or awkward follow-ups, might I ask?
No, not awkward. We had one recently, though. We were playing, I can't remember which video it was. We were in Hoboken, New Jersey, playing a show, and a woman came up and she goes, "The bouncer that was in the background there, I went to high school with that guy." You know, just like weird stuff like that pop up. But we have had people come out. One of our first videos was this early home shopping show called America's Value Network, and we reached out to one of the hosts, and he was skeptical. They're always skeptical. They always wonder, like, why are you watching this video that I forgot about, that I've completely forgotten about? And then once they realize that our show's not a mean-spirited show, and that we are weirdos who genuinely, like, these people are celebrities to us, then they come around to us, and then they start sharing everything. They tell us all the juicy details, and yeah. So it's never really that awkward.
Yeah, Joe, I was thinking of one example early on. Joe worked at this video duplication company and would make copies of videos for people, and whenever a good one would come across the desk, he'd make one for us. And a company called Federated Mutual had these safety videos that were basically a series of on-the-job accidents that were, you know, trying to scare you into being safe. And they used the same, like, local actors to do all these crazy stunts, like get caught in machinery, or, you know, not clean up after a spill and slip and fall. And we were doing a show in Minneapolis, and a guy came up to the merch table and was like, "Hey, do you recognize me?" And I'm ashamed to admit I didn't, but guy with a mustache, older guy, and he goes, "I was in one of those videos." And then all of a sudden it hit me. He was the guy who had hammers fall off his head from a tall ladder. And that was like meeting Tom Cruise for us. You know, I shook his hand. I was like, "I'm never washing this hand again." Because, yeah, these people
like, "Here, throw a hammer at me. Now do you recognize me?"
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Right. No, the biggest one that we've ever met was from our first video. Nick stole a McDonald's training video from McDonald's that he was working at. And it was just, we watched it constantly. And there's no credits at the end of those. But we watched this trainee and the trainer. They had this, like, I don't know, this, like, we always imagined that they had this, like, they loved each other, that they fell in love with each other. And we just wanted to know more about the background and how they, we had way too many theories about this stupid video. But somehow through our VCR Party show, somebody reached out and said, hey, I think I know the guy who played the trainee in the McDonald's training video. And we met him. We got to meet this guy. We were shaking. And my first question was, has anybody else ever recognized you from this training video? And he goes, are you effing kidding me? Like, he was like, he completely forgot that he had even made it. But yeah, no, it's never awkward. It's always joyous whenever we meet these people.
Once they realize that there's fun, it's probably people who are like, oh, I get a chance to be back on the scene again. Let's go.
Oh, Andy.
Right. Well, the reason they put these videos out is because they wanted to be in the spotlight. And now back then they probably weren't when they put these videos up, but now they get to be for a little while.
Now they're old, fat, married with kids, and they're like, please talk about that hammer falling on my head again.
I looked so good before it hit.
Exactly.
I was so handsome,
Glory
and then the hammer
days.
hit me.
Woo!
It's been downhill from there. Hammer days. By the way, one of our people over on our chat says, I think my mom still has her dad's old Laserdisc player and maybe half a dozen movies for it. I wanted to ask you guys a question in regards to care, because there are a lot of people who will find that they have a ton of videotapes from back in the day, find out that they have pieces of equipment, Betamaxes, VCRs. Have you guys, in the time that you spent in this world, learned how to, if you find that kind of stuff and it works, how to kind of take the best care of it so that you can enjoy it on a personal level?
I wish I could say yes.
Yeah. Well,
I think we've gotten good at, like, if a videotape breaks, we know how to fix it. You get the little mini screwdriver and you can take the spools out. But if we'd taken even one class on TV VCR repair back in the day, I feel like it'd be a lot easier. Now, unfortunately, I think we end up just getting a new VCR. We used to find a ton, so we have like 30 of them in our office. And if one breaks down, we just kind of go to the next one.
Yeah, I'll say this though, like VHS tapes, they're still making VHS tapes now, but VCRs, if you see one in a thrift store, buy it, because I probably shouldn't be saying this because it's going to hinder my job, but they're finite. VCRs are finite. They're not making them anymore. So pretty soon, 5 years from now, you're not going to even find them in thrift stores anymore. I mean, most of them are in landfills as it is. But I'll crack open the VCR occasionally and try to figure out what's going on in there. I know how to clean them, but that's about it. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I hope somebody comes along and makes a new VCR, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Like record players, Lindsay. Maybe there'll be a big revolution.
Yeah, I mean,
people will actually, who thought the record player would ever come back, and yet here it is with a vengeance. We actually got one over here in the studio right now. So,
well, it becomes like family. I mean, we sat around in COVID. My family didn't listen to records. Maybe that'll be when the next COVID hit. Sorry, I don't really mean that. I'm not praying for that. But we could sit around and watch the next version of VHS. And guys, so we have, I think you guys know, we have a large majority of our audience are over-the-road truck drivers. And so obviously spend a lot of time in truck stops. You guys have collected a lot of memorabilia and such you can find everything. If you guys have not been to Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop, boys, let me tell you.
Oh, we've been there.
Okay,
they
good.
Also have a theater there.
Yes.
I want to play that movie theater. I actually called them and inquired to see if we could perform there, and they're like, I don't know. Normally we just toss a movie on or something.
Oh, I can help you. I have performed there.
Oh, yeah?
I've performed there. I know the woman who books it. I got you. I'm being serious.
Oh, yes. Okay. Hook us up.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. But I'll circle back. I'll message you off the air. But what are some of the things, like, as you pass through, or maybe so truck drivers, like, can people submit stuff to you if they find it along the road as well?
Yeah, for sure.
They're like, no.
We're
no.
We're I mean, our whole show really started with a truck stop. Like you had mentioned up top about us finding Larry Pierce's album and getting obsessed with it. He had an album called Songs for Studs, and we bought it, and then we realized, this guy has 12 other albums at truck stops, and you can only get them at truck stops. So we bought all of them, and then we got obsessed, and then we've been hooked on truck stops ever since. So,
Love it.
you know, it's funny.
They got good stuff.
I don't know if they do VHS as much anymore, but for a while, I feel like even recently you'd find at a Flying J or something a bargain bin of DVDs, and it was just the worst movies you had ever heard of, like movies you had never heard of. We found one that I think never got released other than, at a truck stop called Royal Face Off, and it was this homemade movie in Florida about somebody trying to get the Queen's image off of money, and it's a high school girl who writes an essay about it, and it's just like you can't even believe this was made. And I've never seen it. It's not online. It's not streaming. But we got it for $1.50 at a Flying J.
$1.50. Yeah, they have. It's the same with CDs. It's like they just only have the worst stuff for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it's great. Worst slash best.
I wonder where are these distributors getting this stuff? Because I want some. Like I'm not seeing it sold anywhere else.
It's like movies for guys who want to stop liking movies is what they should call some of those.
Right.
Films,
and only want to pay $1.
Yeah. By the way, have you guys played New Orleans?
Yeah.
We've
played there a few times.
One-Eye Jacks.
Oh, perfect. That's a perfect venue for you guys. If you ever come back, you should play the Carver Theater. It's not far from our studios. You should also look at the Broad. I'm not kidding. Take a long, hard look at the Broad Theater. They're both worth kind of playing at. Where are you guys playing next?
I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah. Seriously, the Broad has all kinds of setups. The Broad did a bad trucking movie film festival, so they are right up your alley.
Ooh. Okay. That sounds perfect for us.
Where are you guys headed next?
We're in October 23rd. We're in Atlanta, and then we're doing like a southeast run. So Atlanta, Athens, Knoxville, cool theater there, and Birmingham, Alabama. And then then we hit the road. We're in the Midwest and Los Angeles, and pretty busy up through March of next year.
You can go to foundfootagefest.com if you're making your plans to travel. Find these guys along the way. You guys are actually going to be December 3rd here in Nashville, where I live, which is my birthday week. You're going to be at City Winery. I think I'm going to come because it's City Winery, guys, is a really cool venue. Really cool music shows, and I have a friend who is the manager over there, and the just neat things they put on. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, that's been our home in Nashville for the last few shows, and they treat us well. So, and the crowds have always been great. So I'm stoked for that show.
Nice. Well, we'll meet you there. FoundFootageFest.com. Jim, this is so up your alley, so up our listeners' alley, so up everyone's alley. So just keep the nostalgia and the weirdness coming. And man, it's mind blowing every day. The things that were real. Is that really? Did that happen?
And on reels, Joe Pickett, Nick Prueher. Actually, it's on tape. Thank you both so much. We're looking forward to. Hope your tour goes great. And check out their weekly YouTube show, VCR Party Live. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.